update. It's been forever. Yeah.
Another one.
Yep.
This is the first one I've ever been a part of.
Well, this was a story that I did fairly long time ago, probably about 2+ years.
No, not 2+. October 2017.
Okay,
That's
he
when
knows.
this happened.
He knows the exact date. I don't. So that's how long ago it has been. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about that update today.
What are you talking about?
Talking about the Andy Signore story.
Andy Signore, Screen Junkies, and all that. Andy Signore is pretty much the creator of Screen Junkies and Honest Trailers.
He did all the writing for Honest Trailers, yeah. And we know how much we like the Honest Trailers.
Yes. So for those who don't know what we're talking about, we'll post the link to her former story from back then in the description. And so what pretty much happened was a woman by the name of April Dawn claimed that Andy Signore sexually assaulted her. And she, I believe, was then working for Screen Junkies.
Yep.
And threatened, and he threatened that if she came forward, that he would fire her boyfriend JTE, and then then Andy Signore was fired from Screen Junkies by Defy Media.
Yep.
And a handful of other females came out with screenshots of Andy Signore hitting on his fans and things like that. And another woman, Emma Brewer, something like that, came forth with the allegations that that Andy Signore had found. She was working for Andy Signore before Screen Junkies, though she said she was an intern for him during Screen Junkies at the time, and that he found nude modeling pictures and told her that he was jacking off to those photos. Well, almost 2 years later, Andy Signore came out with a video that's his side of the story, and you're probably thinking, 2 years? What took him so long? He went through a legal process, and it was just settled not too long ago with Defy Media for wrongful termination, and so he came out with this video.
Yep.
Now, first things first, we're going to show what April had to say originally about before the firing of Andy. Read, please.
Andy used Screen Junkies to prey on multiple women, including myself. The first time he used Chicago Comic Con by saying they were having a SJ party and I was invited. The party ended up being him alone in his hotel room trying to force himself on me. I was later invited by Screen Junkies to come out to LA to be on the fan cam, and they put me in a hotel. Andy stopped by my hotel uninvited and took a dildo out of his bag and tried to use it on me. He also took pictures of me without my permission and went through my phone while I was in the bathroom. He then used my shower, saying he couldn't smell like me, and he went home to his wife. Many have asked why I haven't come forward. I was in a strange city. I'm originally from Wisconsin, and he threatened to kick me out of the hotel if I told anyone. He later used my relationship with JTE against me, saying if I told anybody, he would have JTE fired. I had recently heard a story from another victim, and I decided that this was beyond JTE or myself. I went to HR with other women, and they told me that we didn't really have a case, and they continued not to take my claims seriously. I had set up a meeting with a journalist this week to finally share my story, but in the light of other women coming forward, I knew I had to show them they weren't alone. Screen Junkies has some incredible people working in front of the camera and behind the scenes, including my boyfriend. I still support the hosts. They've been incredible through all of this. I only blame Andy and the few people at HR who knew about this, but they didn't stand up for women. Thank you for all the support. If you or someone you know has been hurt by Andy, no matter how big or small, please come forward. You don't need to be ignored any longer.
And with that, Andy Signore was fired. This was literally right when the Me Too movement happened. Andy Signore is literally the second person who got hit by the Me Too movement. It was Harvey Weinstein, and then a day later, it was Andy Signore. And with everything that happened, now that he settled this stuff with the FI, he's come out with his side of the story. But unlike April, he's come out with screenshots and pictures of Google verified text messages, emails, pictures, and tweets from what happened. To the first text. Now, in this first text message that you're seeing right here, set of text messages, is in regards to her claims of being told that there was a Screen Junkies party in the Chicago Comic-Con. You clearly can see that Andy asks her if she wants to come to his room and hang out. Not that it was a party. That just come, you want to come? She's like, sure. Or am I just bringing my sparkling personality? Whatever you want. I'm not sure what we're going to do. Cute nerdy girl coming up to my hotel room. Never done that before. Bam. That proves right there that was a lie. That what she was saying was all. What she claimed was untrue about the thinking it was thinking it was a party. That just proves a liar right there. Next, though, I wasn't able to find the picture of this text. If you want to go watch Andy's video, you can go watch Andy's video. The next one shows that they both were regretful that neither one of them made any moves or anything like that. Another one that is shown in the video by Andy shows that Screen Junkies did not invite her to do fan cam. Andy and April conspired together to figure out a way for her to get from Chicago or wherever it was, Wisconsin, whatever, to LA to come see Andy and hang out. And they used the guides of the fan cam because her boss was a fan of Screen Junkies' movie fights to come see it. It's all plainly there, and you can plainly see it. I believe the next group of text messages we have is what comes on after.
How are you joining me? Oh, and I forgot the condoms. I promise the last thing I'm trying to do is have your kids. What room number? 1237.
Okay, right there. That is a exchange between April and Andy at the LA about the LA hotel that she claims that he came to uninvited, and you see right there that they made a booty call rendezvous and she gave her room number. So right there, she's caught in another lie. She claims that he took pictures of her, right? That's what she said. He shows in his video, once again, the link to that video is going to be in our description. In that video, he shows that the videos was sent from her phone, pictures were sent from her phone to him. And he has the pictures blurred out, so you can't see, but you can. It's not lingerie photos as he says on there. And then the other claim that I find funny in there is that at the time she was dating JTE, but he clearly shows the time and when. In the timestamps with their exchanges when she even started with JTE, so she was with she was messing around with Andy before she was messing with JTE, so that doesn't compute either.
Yeah.
And then do we have the text on what happened after the yeah. Put that one on. Go ahead.
Let me see. Will you be visiting tonight? Sorry, no, I can't. Work fucked me. I'm supposed to be the one fucking you. I agree. Wish you would have stayed longer. Come back for round 2.
That text, no, that set of texts, or after him leaving the hotel room. So she claimed that he came in uninvited, whipped out a dildo, and tried to put it in there. And those text messages are from after that exchange. Now, I'm no scientist, genius, or anything like that, but to me, I'm not a trauma. I've never been through a trauma like that. But have you? I don't know. We've never been through a trauma like that. But if you were to ask me, those are not the text messages or the reactions of somebody who was just sexually assaulted, telling them to come back for round 2 and that you're supposed to be the one fucking him.
Yep.
Maybe that's just me. I don't know. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. So, those are just some. He just came forward with a handful of truths from proving what she said is a lie. Now, a lot of that. Before we get into what other people were saying, here's what April has said in response. April says in response.
When I came forward a few years ago, I knew everything that was displayed in the video today could be made public. I decided to go forward regardless because I wanted to make sure no harm will come to any more women. I was ready then and I'm ready now to take the hits. Comments or criticism you can throw at me because at the end of the day, I know my truth and I did what was right. And what I did was right. I was a teenager and I made mistakes. I've had to live with them. I'm not giving any more of my time or energy to this. I'm moving on from my own mental health. Thanks to all those who continue to support me as I learn and grow. First of all, it was 2 years ago. I understand that within 2 years ago, there's a lot of people can change and there's lots of different changes and whatnot, but
she came forward 2 years ago. It happened in 2015. So 4 years ago.
4 years.
She came forward 2 years later.
She came forward. But even then, she went ahead and mentions her truth, which means she has pretty much just stated in that verbiage that she lied about what she pretty much came out about.
As in that, and because that was from her Twitter, right in that somebody posted a scene from Simpsons where it says, "There's the truth and the truth." That's exactly what my truth is. My truth is the truth. You're bullshit. It's bullshit. There's not your truth, his truth. There's the truth. You know your side of the story. He knows his side of the story. Somewhere in between there is probably the truth. But to say that that's your truth and your truth is bullshit. And in your statement, you don't really counter anything he said.
Nope.
You just acknowledge that you knew that shit was out there.
Another thing too is like you came out with he said she said stuff without providing actual evidence. You provided other people's evidence, but not your own. And
you're the only one, and she's the only one that came forward with sexual assault. Everyone else came forward with him hitting on them.
Yep.
And before we get into other people's responses, here's her boyfriend JTE from Schmodown, Collider, and Screen Junkies.
See, I saw Mr. Psychopath's video. I've lived and read everything you've seen and haven't seen for the past few years. I'm not giving another moment of my time or energy to him. We're moving forward. Believe and follow him if you want. I could care less. If you do, though, hide your undies.
And that's in response to...
He messaged me to say
this
how...
is Emma Brewer's message. What Emma Brewer said in the accusations. She screenshotted and posted this.
Oh. He said to me how hot I was and tried to play it off as silly. LOL, jacking it in your undies. And when I tried to brush it off, he offered me to come over so he could do it in person. I will never forget his exact work. You can read a book for all I care. And
once again, it's his response is somebody else's response, who is just a he said she said when he addressed her actions, her claims in his video with actual posted dates that show when that link was sent, or that she sent the link to her pictures, when he replied to it, and that they worked together multiple times afterwards.
Yep.
So I'm not trying to pick sides here. I'm reporting that he showed this, she said that, she said this. And a lot of people's response is negative towards this video, towards Andy, is, well, she's not the only, that's not the only accuser, that's not the only accuser, that's not the only accuser. True! But she is the only accuser that claimed sexual assault, and he even says in his video that he does not deny any of the flirtatious and hitting on women and fans when he was already married. He does not deny any of that, and he apologizes if it makes anybody felt bad. He acknowledges that.
Yep.
The whole point of the video is to disprove that people are calling, he's being called a rapist by people on Twitter, a sexual assault scumbag type person being put in the same vein as Harvey Weinstein, and he's showing proof that April's claims are bullshit. That's it. And there was another person who was claiming, a lot of these people who were talking a lot of shit on Andy's side either didn't watch the whole video or didn't watch the video at all. Bottom line. You watch the whole video, it's pretty goddamn damning. And going from that, Andy made this video. It's about 17 minutes long. He put it on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit. I shared the one on the Fighting Nerdy page from Facebook onto our Fighting Nerdy page. Facebook ended up deleting it. Reddit ended up taking it down right before it made it to their front page. It was number 11 on the everything on the top 10 on Reddit is on their front page. It was number 11 that got taken down. The only way that the video is on Facebook now is that he shared the link to the YouTube video onto Facebook and had to boost it for anybody to be able to see it on Facebook.
Huh.
So, and the only major outlet that's covered this at all is Philip DeFranco on his channel. People, Screen Junkies has not said nothing. April, and nothing's come so far has come for April or JTE. With their side of everything, nothing has. Nobody from Screen Junkies, Dan Merle or Hal Rudnick has said anything. The only thing that they have done is like somebody else's tweet, which was anti-Andy. They liked his tweet, which it's kind of, being kind of chicken shit. Bottom line, I'm sorry. But to go forward on this a little bit more, the other day, when was it? The other day, I want to say it was just yesterday. Andy on his channel, Popcorn Planet, posted a video, The Hypocrisy of Film Twitter, dropping more receipts. And what it was about was mainly about people on pundits who, when the accusations came out about Andy, they were quick to jump on it and to say their feelings about it and things like that. But now that he's come out with his side of the story, nobody's responding, and mainly he's focused on, and he mainly brought this up because on the John Campea show, he takes whatever it's called when people pay to have,
bribe.
No, no. When people pay you on Twitch to whatnot, get your question, your comment read.
Oh, like a subscriber thing.
Yeah. Well, somebody asked him with those paid subscribers, have you seen Andy's video and what's your thoughts on it? And he said this is a movie channel. I don't talk about YouTube drama on my movie channel. And in Andy's video, he shows multiple times where John Campea does talk about the Harvey Weinstein stuff, the dude from Jeepers Creepers 3, the Jeepers Creepers director, talks about the Chris Hardwick stuff. He talks about the Brett Ratner stuff on multiple of his videos. And with that, it was only up for not even 2 hours, and John Campea wrote a response on, and also John Campea wrote a blog post saying, a pretty long blog post the same day when all this stuff, the original stuff, came out. Not attacking Andy, but talking about men in Hollywood in general. And John Campea replied literally not even an hour after the video went up. Andy, I'll be clear here. In the blog post I wrote ages ago, it's 2 years, not even 2 years ago, I specifically wrote that I have had nothing but good experiences with you myself. I also never said in that post that you were guilty. I used the post to talk about the wider issues that your situation brought up in the studio film industry and society. It was not on my show or YouTube channel because, as I said, that's not my channel. That's not what my channel is for. Also, I decided I didn't even want a blog post about it, so shortly afterwards, I deleted it. And yes, when this stuff comes up that is directly connected to the movie industry, I will talk about it in terms of the movie industry, not about other YouTubers. The fact that you made this when I never attacked you and kept everything to myself without asking me for clarification is disappointing. I suggest an alternate path. Now, I would agree with everything that John Campea said, except for the fact that he talked about Chris Hardwick. Chris Hardwick is a glorified YouTuber. He's the guy who created Nerdist. He created Nerdist. He was a YouTuber before a YouTuber was a thing because he was on Attack of the Show. Attack of the Show is pretty much what Internet Today, Screen Junkies, Collider, all those things are now, but they're not on TV anymore. It's YouTube.
Yep.
That's what he was. He was on there with Olivia Munn and forgot the guy's name. Whatever. I'm sorry, I forgot your name. I used to watch Attack of the Show all the time, but I forgot your name, and I watch your podcast too, and I still don't remember your name off the top of my head. But he was one of those guys, and then he was a member of Nerdist, and he got fired from Nerdist from his ex-girlfriend's things, and he talked about that. That's YouTube stuff. That's internet stuff. And considering, and Andy even replied to John Campea's message. Saying, I do think I was a big part of the movie industry as Chris Hardwick was. Which, considering he is the creator of Screen Junkies, and when it comes to movie YouTubers, Screen Junkies is the biggest platform out there, I would kind of agree.
Yep.
But if it is up to John Campea doesn't want to talk about it. John Campea doesn't want to talk about it. It's his channel.
Yeah.
But that's beside the point. But anyway, the point of it is that the whole point of everything is we're just updating everything. We made a video, a 15-minute video about the allegations, and now we made a however long video about the update. And I personally wrote Andy Signore and asked him if he could talk about it, what his plans are with all this stuff coming. Now that the stuff with the Defy is over and done with, and you have your stuff out now, are civil or legal actions towards April Dawn, are you considering those? And he said all options are open right now. And also, back to the allegations to begin with, bring back April's initial first original statement, the very first one. She says that about how Screen Junkies was protecting Andy or something like that, and about the HR and everything, that they didn't do anything. In Andy's video, he also shows that no, when he was accused of this stuff initially, the reason why nothing happened was Andy showed HR the text messages and everything before, and they were like, "Oh shit!"
And that's the reason why it took 2 months before they said anything.
Because they had proof, and because Andy had proof that you were full of shit. Now, let's make before we finish this whole thing. This is no longer reporting. This is my personal opinion on everything. Which I'm leaning towards Andy's side when it comes to the Andy versus April and the Andy versus Emma thing, because unless they come out with proof showing that he's full of shit, he's kind of proved they are full of shit. So beyond that, him hitting on fans, to me, if he wasn't, the only problem with it is he was married.
Yep.
If he was single, not in a relationship, anything at all, there's no problem with that. And even though because he was married, shouldn't have been fired from his job because he was hitting on fans. That's a him and his wife issue. That's not him losing the job that he created issue.
Unless you're in the military, then you'll be honorably discharged.
But that has nothing with a fan. That has nothing to do with anything.
No.
The people, which I've gotten into Twitter fights the other day, which I can't read the tweet now because she's deleted it, but she wrote a very long thing that JTE even shared, and I countered with what they were saying, because she was saying there was a power dynamic between Andy and these fans. And I'm sorry, but that's one of the dumbest things. So you're going to single out Andy, right? But you're not going to then if you're going to single out Andy, we got to attack every single rock band in history. Even some of the Christian rock bands have groupies, rappers, athletes, actors, actresses. J-Lo had her second husband was one of her backup dancers. Is that not a power dynamic? She was his boss. That's a power dynamic. Power dynamics are bullshit. You saying there's a power dynamic when there's two willing people. When you saying there's a power dynamic, you're saying that the other person is so weak and stupid that just because you admire somebody, you can't decide the difference between wanting to and not wanting to fuck that person. That's retarded. Are we not adults here? At some point in time, you have to take responsibility for your actions. Just because you're a fan of somebody doesn't mean you go to what you want and don't want.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of The Rock. Doesn't mean I want to suck his dick. I can clearly say that in my head. But anyway, that's my personal wrap up on it. The only if the part about April is true, if Andy's side is true, that he's just proved that April's full of shit. The only thing that he did wrong was fuck around on his wife.
Yep.
Bottom line. Him hitting on on fans is not a problem. Because you got to shoot your shot to see if you can pray for the best. And even on those messages that he did send to fans, all the ones I've seen anyway. I haven't gone through and looked for all of them, but the ones I've seen, when they show disinterest, he leaves them alone.
Yep.
So what's the problem? Besides the fact that he was married. That's the only problem. Beyond that, what the fuck? You got anything to add?
I mean, I already put in my 2 cents earlier.
Alright.
I just hope that if April has actual evidence, then she needs to bring it out. If not, then
she needs to go to jail. No, she destroyed Andy's life.
Yep.
So she either needs to pay a hefty fine, or however long somebody who formed sexual assault goes to jail for. False accusations, and people who bring forth false accusations should have that same penalty. That's what I say. Anyway. And with that, we're going to call it a wrap.
That's a wrap.
And until next time, get out of here.